Welcome back to the Theme Park Universe episode 4. And today we're talking about all about the DVC villas at the Disneyland Resort that just opened up. We have co-host Vash Guy and special guest Scott Gustin here. Scott, how are you? Where can everyone find you if you want them to find you?
On the site formerly known as Twitter. The only place that I am where I'll be. Yeah. So
Let me,
hanging out
let me
there.
start. I'll start off by saying that, folks, if you're watching this show and you don't already follow Scott Gustin, or you don't know who Scott Gustin is, you're not doing it properly. Go on.
Yeah, you gotta
go
follow.
on X or whatever you want to say, Twitter immediately. Go on there. Follow Scott Gustin. He has been a mainstay for coverage surrounding the parks, the Walt Disney Company, even some politics every once in a while. But seriously, an amazing source. Guy's been doing it a long, long time. I know he's been a mainstay of mine in terms of sourcing for information for a long, long time. So we are so honored and privileged to have you, Scott. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you again.
The politics stuff gets me in trouble, but yeah, I try to keep it. I try to keep it in the lane a little bit, but no, I appreciate it. I'm excited to spend the evening talking about the new villas and whatever else is going on in the parks. Always, so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Vash Guy, where can everyone find you at?
Well, the best place to find me is going to be, well, on the channel you're watching right now at Theme Park Universe, where we talk long form about all things going on at the parks all across the nation 2 times a month. But I'm also making daily appearances on that Park Place, so you can go ahead and follow me there.
Alrighty. Well, just about a week ago, on September 28th, the brand new tower at the Disneyland Hotel, the Discovery Tower, opened up as a DVC tower, but anyone can stay in it. And awesome Scott here, he got the chance to stay in it on media night, which was like I think so the 27th. And so first, Scott, just from the picture before you got there, from the pictures you probably saw online, you probably went to the parks and saw it under construction. What were your anticipations? Like, did it live up to the hype, or like what were you expecting, just from what you saw on the outside?
I mean, I always thought it was a interesting aesthetic for the building there at the Disneyland Hotel. I like the look of those buildings, and it's very, very different from the outside. Um, so I honestly was not sure what it was going to look like. There was a good bit of art that was released ahead of time, which if you go back and look at I wish we got concept art for the parks as accurate as the concept art was for this hotel.
I know, right?
It's crazy. If you look on the site, you can't tell between concept art for the rooms and actual photos of the rooms. So once they released the art, I felt like I had a good idea of what we were kind of getting into. But I mean, it's an impressive space. It's very bright in the lobby there, all the windows. This picture, I think I took this on the evening of the first night that I stayed there. But yeah, during the day, it's a very bright space. Lots of open space, maybe more than I would have put in the space myself. There's just kind of a lot of room, but it's
Really?
fine. It's nice to have that and not feel cramped. The Disneyland hotel lobby, some of those areas are a lot smaller. This is a much bigger space. This is kind of like a workspace. It's got chargers and other places you can set up if you're traveling with a family. You can all have kind of a space where you can go hang out if you're staying in multiple rooms. The tables there are nice. But yeah, there's no check-in in the lobby. You check in the main Disneyland hotel check-in area. So all of this space really is just guest space at the bottom of the tower.
I see.
Very
Did-
nice.
Did you find that did you find that this tower here was attempting to incorporate itself in and amongst the Disneyland Hotel, at least interior wise, or did you see that there was a new design aesthetic taking place here? I know some people have kind of said that, oh well, the new villa's tower doesn't quite integrate itself with the existing towers. What did you experience on the inside? Was that
Yeah, I
consistent with your
mean,
experience?
it feels very different. It does. I mean, I'm not like I really like the rooms, the regular Disneyland hotel rooms. I really like these. I am not smart enough to know what things go together or match really in terms of style. So like, the what I would say is like the elegance of the rooms are on par with the Disneyland hotel rooms. There's definitely kind of for me, it felt a lot like Bay Lake Tower at Walt Disney World in terms of,
Right.
higher end furnishings, but there's a lot more parks and characters sprinkled throughout the decor than you get at like a Bay Lake Tower, where it's just kind of like a nice hotel. This has a good blend of characters mixed in with, very, very nice decor and furnishings in the room. So,
And this is the standard
yeah.
suite, right? This is the one that anyone can. Did they show?
Yeah.
Because I saw some people got like a tour, at least of the grand one, the 2-story one. Did you get to see that one as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. The
Okay,
first and
how was
last time I
that
will
one?
ever step foot in that room, I can promise you that. I mean, so it was insane. I took a couple pictures, but I knew that there would be other people to better capture that room that again I'll
Mhm.
never see again. And it's not a room that is. It's neat to see. It's fun to talk about,
Mhm.
but it's not realistic for really anyone.
Many people.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
I honestly was. I was just a tourist in there, just checking it out and not actually thinking about, people
Mhm.
want to learn about this because people booking it don't really care what they're booking. Let's be honest. They
Yeah.
just got the money and they'll throw it on it. But
Mhm.
it
So
it was
this was the
amazing.
one. This is the room you stayed in, yes, right? This is like
Yeah. So
yours.
this is just a
Oh,
deluxe
wow.
studio. This is the
Ooh, this is.
standard, most common room in the tower.
It's very nice. Like, wow, I feel like it's very. It looks like it's very spacious. Just a video.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
No, I mean that's a good observation. It really did feel, and videos and these types of tours are always distorted because you're trying to capture it in the lens. But no, it is a very spacious room, unlike some of the newer DVC towers that have been built that are really tight. And I mean they have what's called a duo studio at this hotel
Mhm.
too, where it only sleeps two, but
Okay.
this room is very big for a standard deluxe studio room.
Here's a photo from the Orange County Register on
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I mean
Woo,
it's
that
woo.
2-story suite there.
I mean,
They're
yeah,
listing it
that's
as 6,000 a night. I heard that rooms here will range from 4,000 to 4,500, but this one is even in a higher price bracket, which is interesting.
I mean
yeah.
there's
So
only
if I win that Powerball, this you'll see me over here. I'll invite all of you all. We'll be over here.
Go ahead,
and
Scott.
it's from the outside of the building you can see the two-story
Mhm.
suites, and that's kind of they're at the top. You can see them. They stand out, from the rest of the front of the tower.
Sure.
It's an amazing view out there. Has the fireplace there in the middle that is inside and outside on the patio, um, and then these giant sliding doors that you can just open up and kind of have it be this big open space.
Ooh wee.
Yeah, there's a good shot. One fun detail. This is a computer rendering here.
Right.
And they have
Yeah.
the best way to know it's the rendering is that Mickey on the TV everywhere. That's like the
Yeah.
stock image.
Oh yeah.
If you ever see that, that's the giveaway. But another
Uh,
giveaway is the Mickey statue, the red Mickey statue right there.
right.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So if you find any photos or anyone's looking at any videos of the tour, that is supposed to be under the stairs. Uh, as of the tour that I took last week, maybe they've added him in the last couple of days. He was not there, but they have like I assume he's going to be added eventually. I asked, and they said, concept art doesn't always match the room. They kind of gave me that line, but I think it will be added at some point. But for me, the more interesting thing was the first time we toured it, I wasn't thinking about this statue. I didn't even know it was supposed to be there. But there's this awkward like metal bar on the ground that's going to go around the statue to keep people away from it. But without the statue there, it looked like a shopping cart return almost. It's just like a this random metal bar under the stairs. And I remember looking out in there, I'm like, what is that supposed to be? And then after going back and looking at the art, I'm like, that was the protector for Mickey. So I'm sure they'll add that or something similar at some point, since they installed like the barrier to protect it. But just kind of a funny detail.
Now, one thing I haven't really seen much is pictures of it at nighttime, like the outside. And I'm an hour away from Disney, so haven't seen it in person at night. Did you get to walk around at nighttime and see what it looks like, or even in the hallways, the lighting package, or did you just stay in the room?
Oh no, it's the hallways at night, the lighting throughout the entire. You can see it a little bit here.
Ooh,
This
nice.
is daytime, but yeah, there's LED lighting on the. You can see like the D-shaped hallway accent there.
Smart. I like that. I like
but
that.
Yeah, they have the
That's
embedded
cool.
LED lights everywhere.
Yeah, that's a beautiful hallway. My goodness. Wow, if only they put that much detail into a new attractions. Oh man.
Or Galactic Star Cruiser. Gotta do it.
Too
Sorry.
soon. Too soon. I've never. Did either one of you ever do that? Did you ever do Star Cruiser?
Way out of my price range, but and I didn't have enough time. I only had a year.
I'm a humble man from Arizona. Getting out there alone is a big deal, much less staying at the Galactic Star Cruiser.
No, I never saw it either. So I wish I had just seen it, just because I'm a
I know.
fan. I would have liked. I'm not really a Star Wars fan, but I would have liked to have just seen it to not have felt like I missed out on just seeing something. But but yeah. So in this picture, you can see a little bit the wallpaper.
Are those flowers? Like it looks like maybe petals.
Mary Blair inspired.
Yeah.
And
there's like that accent is also in the rooms behind the TV. This is like a flat wallpaper print, but in the rooms, if you pull up a picture of like that mirror right there.
Oh yeah.
You've got and it was Tiana in my room, but there's a Sleeping Beauty themed room, kind of all having that Mary Blair inspired like pattern, and it's all specific to the character for that room.
Wow,
that's a cool design language to incorporate throughout this. I like that a lot.
And the TV, like the LED lighting behind the TV, it looks, you can see it in the photo, but there's also like an LED light embedded in the mirror, and all of that light on those those are not flat. Those have depth. All of those patterns, they look really cool. So it was good.
I can see that with the haloing here, and you can see some of hard to see here, but you can see where that design language for
I can
hallway patterns are coming from.
Man, gosh, I don't know if this is the plan, but boy, now I sure hope they do one by one take down the other Disneyland hotel towers and replace them with beauties like these. Like, wow.
What's interesting, and I live in North Carolina, and I go to Walt Disney World a good bit. I go to Disneyland a lot, usually for quicker trips. But I've only been going to Disneyland for, a decade.
Mhm.
but I've gone a lot in the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm not as, in the loop at all times
Mhm.
about the history of a lot of things at Disneyland. And I was talking to
Sure.
someone
Mhm.
about the towers there at the hotel, and I kind of
Mhm.
just said, with the style of this, I'm like, well, maybe the towers will. I was mainly just referring to the exterior. I was saying
Mhm.
maybe the towers will look like the villas
Mhm.
going forward. Like maybe this is kind of the design 5 years from now. And the
Mhm.
person was telling me, they were like, they just painted the towers at Disneyland Hotel recently.
They did.
Yep.
They
Just
just made them
painted them.
nice and blue.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, there goes that theory. Never mind.
Yeah.
There was a plan at one point to build a Tomorrow Tower, right?
Mhm.
And build it to a new standard, new aesthetic that you could then, in fact, take down one tower at a time in order to replace them with a modern version of that same tower. So, obviously, Frontier Adventure and Fantasy. I'm not going to say that this is necessarily the second generation of this idea here with the villas. I think this is a different equation here, especially as it's a TVC property. But you can tell if they were to ever do that in the future, where they might go with the idea.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. Just gorgeous. By the way, Scott, next time you're out here, we got to get you to Universal Studios Hollywood. Come on now. But
Oh, I did it. I was there in
you did?
yeah, I
Oh,
was there
good.
in March. Yeah, we did it in March. So we did Super
Ooh,
Nintendo. It was fun.
fantastic. Next time you're up, I'll meet you right over there. I'm like 20 minutes away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but so I've seen that at least so far, there's like the pool bars under construction, but there's not really many places or any places to eat
Yeah.
with this new hotel. You kind of have to go to the not even Steakhouse 55, but I guess the lounge area or Goofy's Kitchen or Tangerine Terrace. Um, any future besides that under construction pool bar? Any future plans for any restaurants or
I
anything
don't
that
think
they
so.
tell you about? Interesting.
No,
You
I
think
think
that
it's
could? You
going to be
think that
that.
could be a? Do you think that could be a problem
I
potentially?
mean, I, I I feel like without the pool bar open, it's a problem.
Uh,
Like right now, it's not.
mm-hmm.
If I am, um, I'm a DVC member, so I would use my points if I was staying there. But I know people
Mm-hmm.
are staying, just paying cash, and will be able to pay cash if I were paying out of pocket to stay here, and there's not somewhere to eat. That's not ideal. And
Right.
even if it does, someone there told me I was not able to confidently confirm this in any way, even though someone
Mm-hmm.
did tell me this, that it will open in October.
Mm.
But that still could be a month worth of people staying there without a food option. It's
do
a lot. It's not a short walk to the lobby
do
from this.
do they have that same deal they're going with the pandemic where you can order stuff from downtown Disney and they bring it to you, or did they end that program?
That's a good question. There was something in the room about ordering from the hotel, but I'm not sure if you can still do that. I don't
I'm
remember hearing that it
straight
ended, but I'm not sure.
Vash Vashkai. Do you know anything about that? If that's still
I
going on?
do. I know they had that program, like you said,
Because
during.
that would really help if since there's no food options, if you can just order it and they bring it to you.
Well, I'm just so surprised that Steakhouse 55, something hasn't happened there at the very least in preparation
Hmm.
for this new tower to be added to the design hotel property. You would have thought that they would have at least wanted to increase their, I don't know, their food capacity, let's say, right? By having
Yeah,
that on option, and it's not.
Hmm.
I would say Steakhouse 55. That situation is. There's a few very confusing situations at Disneyland right now, like how long it's taking the treehouse to open. But 55 Steakhouse 55 is something that is hard for me to figure out for the same
Hmm.
Same.
reasons. It just like, did they like break the oven and they don't know how to fix it? Like what is, these are the things that drive me nuts, where it's like, is there just like this simple, stupid reason that explains it? Because otherwise it's harder for me to reconcile it, make sense of how you can't have that open and operating at a hotel like that.
I have seen Gordon Ramsay turn around a complete restaurant in 24 hours. Come on, let's get this open there. No,
Make it a
obviously
show.
there are staffing
Make a
issues.
show out of it, Disney. Let Gordon do it, and we'll all benefit from it.
That would be absolutely fantastic. I love that idea. Look, there are staffing issues, there are supply chain issues, right? And speaking of these little issues that have impacted some of these projects and so forth, I believe we had an article from Mouse Info right here talking about how it's been a little bit of a bumpy start for this new DVC property. And I kind of wanted to ask you, Scott, if you had experienced any of these issues yourself. The article goes, written by my friends over there at Mouse Info, Becca and Joey. They go into how there was inconsistent hot water in the rooms, how there were missing electrical outlets, how there were malfunctioning AC control panels, closed pools that had irregular hours of operation. They said that the finish work in some places wasn't the highest. Hey, Scott, I don't mean to lay this all out on you, but just to pick your brain just a little bit, did you find any of these things when staying at this property?
I mean, there were definitely some people that had reported issues with hot water, but I think all of those were addressed. That's like, I stayed at a new hotel at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You guys know where that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Last summer, like we just happened to stay there the first week that it was open, and we had very similar issues. Just and I didn't get this answer at the Disneyland hotel, but at this other chain hotel that opened up, they basically said that all of that stuff is computerized now, like setting, what level, how hot it needs to be for a certain floor, and they have to just like figure out like how hot it needs to be for an entire floor sometimes.
Right. There's a learning.
And yeah, they're just kind of like learning. And I know that at the villas, they had people staying in the rooms, testing them out kind of for that reason, before any guests or preview or media or anyone stayed in it. But it's also like 400 rooms. So it would not surprise me at all if, or I am 100% believe that those issues were all seen. The only thing that I experienced was the water issue the first night, which I just told someone, and then the next day, or even I think that same day, it was fixed. But I did not see any of the other issues, but I don't doubt it. I think what's important for a lot of that stuff is that they're listening and addressing those issues.
That's good.
And I did not observe issues that I've seen at other newer hotels where it's super loud. Like they just make the walls paper thin, like things that you can't fix or address after you open. I will share one super weird thing, please, that may or may not be an issue going forward, but it was an issue in my room. It wasn't an issue. It was just kind of something that I observed. But if you can pull up the picture of the room that I stayed in, and it has just the main bed, and it has the illuminated LED headboard behind. Yeah. So that orange LED headboard is beautiful.
Right there. Yeah.
It has an LED light inside of it, so it glows, and you can turn it on and off. It's gorgeous. It really is a showpiece.
Ooh, beautiful.
And I think it fits in well with the iconic headboards that they have at the Disneyland Hotel. The problem is that it's LED lit. You can control it with the switch. You can turn it on and off. But most people are only going to turn off at night. And what happens to plastic when it's hot? It expands, and when it
Uh-huh.
cools, it contracts. And
Mm-hmm.
both nights that I stayed, about 2 a.m., that plastic sheet
Oh, is it
popped
making
the
noises?
loudest noise ever.
Oh, and
It
I mean,
pops.
that's right over your head too. So
Yeah.
you like right in your ear.
Yep.
Oh,
And
I didn't even think of that.
isn't that
That's
interesting?
interesting. Yeah,
And
that
I
could
did
be
ask a couple
an
other people, and they said that they heard it too, but for whatever reason, it could be how tight the plastic is within the frame in each one.
Sure.
But the other people that heard it said it happened like 5 minutes after they turned the light off. It made that popping sound. But for whatever reason, mine didn't fully cool down until like middle of the night when it was just this
Whew.
pow.
And
So
Wow, that is I didn't think of that. That's interesting.
yeah,
some of my Philips Hue lighting back here, it will give off a popping noise if in fact you know alter the brightness levels, turn them off, that kind of thing. I can only imagine of something of this scale popping. That might wake you up at night. That might be a little bit of an issue.
and it wasn't as much of an issue this, even though it did the same sound the second night.
Mhm.
It wasn't an issue because I knew what it was. The first night, I was just like, "What just happened? Like, what in the world?" And then, like, when I didn't even figure it out the first night. It wasn't until I woke up and then I like pushed on the headboard, and I was like, "That's what it was." Like it just had to contract. Um,
Wow.
and so the second night, it did scare me or didn't um, stun me as much as it did the first night. But it's just kind of a funny quirk that we'll
Yeah,
see if other
man.
people observe that.
The these things do I don't know. You know, Disney doesn't always get it 100% right the first time. There's always a test and adjust period with these things. So I'm sure, well, hopefully those things will be addressed. I know with the Murphy bed with the pull down. At first, very very nice, but as time has gone on, you hear a loud squeaking from
Oh
those
yeah.
things nowadays. So it's you know fine tuning, and I think I think we can hope for that. I'm glad to hear that the paper thin walls, like you stated, aren't necessarily present here. I know they are present in various rooms at the Disneyland Hotel, the three other towers, because obviously the age of those going back a long ways. Glad to see that they got that at least nailed down out the gate.
Now, you let's go back to that the Steamboat Willie splash pad. Did you was that how was that? It's pretty was it is it that's a separate pool, correct? Or there's a splash pad and it has its own pool?
Yeah. So the splash pad is on one side, and then there's you
Mm-hmm.
can see like a divider in the middle that has kind of
Mm-hmm.
a covered walkway with the different colored tiles. It's really pretty in the middle of the day. But yeah, so this Steamboat Willie splash pad is on the near side, and
And it looks like there's a decent amount of shade there too. The building provides just nice.
yeah, this time of day. So this would have been like I'd have to. I think it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning is when it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was very shaded, um, and the steam, the mist that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling us that it would go off like every 20 minutes or so. It does the steamboat thing. But the day
Mm-hmm.
we were there, it was going off like every 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm sure
Wow.
they kind of adjust that. Um,
Huh.
but it was cute to see that.
Does that wheel turn? The little
I
driving
don't
wheel?
know. I wasn't brave enough to go in because it was like there is a break after the steam. Like everything kind of turns off
Mhm.
for a minute, and some people were running in for
Mhm.
photos. I'm not much of a photo guy, so I didn't try it. But yeah, I don't know if it turns or not. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
That's fun.
Well, that's cool. They have their own little pool area. That's nice. Should take the pressure off the monorail slides there.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah,
that building is quite nice. It's the different colors. It's so like whoa. I'm just looking at the other. I think the Fantasy Tower, Tomorrowland Tower over there. It's like, whoa, different colors, crazy.
From what I understand too, the residents at the villas can use this pool. They can use the Disneyland Hotel pool, but the residents of Disneyland Hotel can't use the villas pool. Is that
Cannot,
correct?
yeah, they can't.
Gotcha.
Is that true? Because I feel like I asked them
I
and they
think-
said that it was both.
Oh,
Interesting.
I need to follow up on that because I did not ask that when I was out there, but I asked that beforehand, and they basically said that all the pools are all the pools that guests at
Oh.
Disneyland Hotel could go to the villas and vice versa. But I will check on that. Because
Yeah. In the pool area, aren't there like 2-story cabanas or something? 2-story bungalow type things.
yeah, those were not
what-
open
what?
when we were out there.
Oh,
I really wanted to see those, but they wouldn't let us go in there. I don't know if they were finishing those up or what's going on with those. I haven't seen if anyone has been able to stay in them in the last week. But yeah, we didn't get to go in those poolside
interesting.
courtyard studios, I think is what they're called.
Okay, so it's a unit. It's not
here we
not
go.
like a cabana. Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they may have like some poolside things you can rent, but they
Uh-huh.
at the end of the pool there are some
Yeah, those
there's
guys.
those courtyard studios.
Oh yeah, yes they are. That's pretty cool. I wonder how much
Yeah.
that is. Hmm. Interesting. Wow. Huh.
And this is
And
where
so-
my lack of knowledge for history of the hotel falls short, but I think this is kind of a nod to some of those original courtyard rooms that they had at the
Yes.
hotel before the
Yeah.
towers.
yes.
Yeah.
Back when the Disneyland Hotel was more like Disneyland Motel, back in the day.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a
Right.
nice,
So
nice homage.
before you came for this trip, when was the last time you said you came to Disneyland? I assume March, right? Or was it when it,
I was at Disneyland before this trip. I came with family. We did a week in August.
So-
and then before that, I was there in June. So I've been every month
okay, so
or so.
so you
months.
you saw San Francisco, the completed version, and you saw Toontown basically. What do you think of the new improvement or thing? What do you think of San Francisco first, the fully completed open thing? Improvement side, like a neutral, or what do you think?
I mean, I like the update. I think it looks better at night, or the bridge looks better at night. I like the food. The last couple of times I've been, I think my only complaint is just the food ordering experience in that area has been kind of brutal. I think it's just still
I
so
bet
new.
it's so busy, yeah.
It's just
New
so-
and
but like
busy.
for this trip, I went over to DCA. I was just walking around taking pictures, and I went over there thinking that I could do a mobile order. I think it was like 6:00, and there was a
Mhm.
90-minute out for ordering anything in San Francisco, which it's kind of brutal. And then I was just like, I'll just walk up and order at the booth, and I couldn't even figure out where the line started. So that's probably my only I'd say my only issue, but that's not really specific to San Francisco. I think it's cute. I mean, I think they.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say it's necessary. I'm not sure it was really necessary. But I think if they're gonna do it, I think they did a good job. The fit and finish on that bridge was not good, but they have gone back and cleaned that up some.
Some.
Yeah. I wish that I wish the lighting, the lights were a little bit more, looked a little bit more permanent than they do that are draped on the bridge. But still at night, it does look good. Like it looks good.
It does look good at night, I must admit.
It could look better.
And how did you like Toontown?
I liked the Toontown that I saw in March, but much like I mean, it's wild how much has changed and has been behind construction walls and since it's opened.
Mhm.
I will say when I went out and they took and this shows here where they've put up wall. They're taking out the turf
Mhm.
um, to put down bricks. They
Mhm.
when they designed the land, they really thought that people would flow right and go towards railway and then work their way around to the left. And they just forgot that humans don't like to walk and we're going
No,
to take the shortest path.
Mhm.
of course.
And
Mhm.
we have trampled that fake turf. Um, and the water situation on the trampled turf just didn't work. So, I mean, they're doing the right thing. Like what they're putting down will
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
better. It'll look better. Um, but when I came out in March to see it, when the walls were still up, they took us behind the wall. It was
Right.
a week before it was supposed to open, and they were still doing a lot of work a week before. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't done. And what they were doing when we were there was actually putting down that rubber surface around the tree, like
Right.
actually pouring it out of the
Mhm.
buckets a week before it opened. And that area has had some issues that they've had to go back and kind of repair. So I know that the winter that you guys had in California last year really
Brutal.
behind. I mean, it was bad.
It was bad.
So, and honestly, to Disneyland's credit, I haven't really heard them blame the weather as much as they probably could have and should.
Mm.
But like
Mhm.
the things that they were doing when we were there a week before open, they should not have been doing a week before open.
Yeah.
And it was a minor miracle that they got it open, but they're paying
Mhm.
the price that they had to open it
Mhm.
when they did. They're going back and having to fix, plumbing, some of the stuff in the land, the Donald's boat
Mhm.
area never really opened fully. So,
Has yet to open.
but you know, it, you deal with it. I, I I like the space.
Same.
I think railway
Mhm.
is when railway is not the attraction that replaced Great Movie Ride, and it is a true addition. I think it's a
Mhm.
fun ride, and
Especially our facade and our queue out here at Disneyland.
that queue is just amazing. Like when I
It
came out
really
with my
is.
family, we obviously go to Walt Disney World a lot. My kids have ridden Runaway Railway, and I was like, we got to do it here, guys. You got to see the queue. And of course, that's all they talked about. The ride was they knew the ride. The ride was kind of the
Mhm.
afterthought. They just loved all the stuff in that queue. It was really
The
fun.
references and everything. It is fantastic. I mean, there are things that I really really like about Toontown, especially now, and with all these projects, right? Whether it be San Francisco, Tiana's Palace, and even with this new upcoming treehouse, which some people think is not a treehouse because they can't at all be taking this along to build a treehouse. So it's kind of a funny thing. But I guess my concern is we're the parks aren't necessarily being afforded the capital that they have in the past for these projects. We're only getting limited amounts coming from the company as it struggles with its streaming services and so forth. And so when I see them redoing work that's already been done over and over and over again, in the case of this project that you're seeing before you, I get concerned that are we wasting money doing these things over again, and what that I would think that takes away from other projects that really desperately need this amount of investment. So I am happy that Disney is going back and fixing these mistakes. kudos to them, but to keep making them, to keep having to go back and address them is concerning to me as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible that some of at least the Toontown stuff, could be work that the companies that were contracted to do some of this work were essentially required to come back and fix. I don't know enough about it to know how that would go down. I don't think that that's the case, like with this walkway, but I think there have been some other like plumbing issues that very well could be something that the companies that Disney contracted to do the job are essentially having to come back and kind of finish it. But I mean, no, it's a good point. I mean, we're not even talking about Fantasmic and the money that went up in flames in one night. So
right, and you can see maybe some changes to the entertainment schedule and so forth in order to account for those things as well. I know there's been some rumors that there was maybe a permanent show on the way for the Hyperion. Now, the rumor currently, as it stands, maybe has Steve Rogers coming back. We've seen Mickey's Mixed Magic coming back, maybe Disneyland Forever coming back. In order to account for some of those things that happen in Fantasmic, which I think is probably for the best. If we can, move some stuff around here in order to create some funding to really get Fantasmic not only back to the way it was, but maybe even possibly better, I think that's a wise investment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope we see. I hope they do it the right way.
Same.
There's, I don't think they're gonna rebuild. Like it's not going to be the same show,
right?
But I hope that they are trying to, and fans are willing to accept different, but maybe better. Like, it doesn't just always have to be the same. It doesn't. That's not fair. Like we can do better, and like we don't have to replicate always. We should strive for better, and I mean, that they can. If they're taking this amount of time, our expectations should be high, and let's see if they meet them.
Well, I mean, there are people that have been, let's say, not the biggest fans of Fantasmic 2.0, as us fans call it, right? But we just saw in Walt Disney World how they've, they replaced the Pocahontas sequence and did something that I think was a pleasant surprise to a large amount of the community out here. I think it was seen as a good thing. So I am hopeful that when it comes to righting wrongs or correcting errors or making up for mistakes or something like that, that we can come back bigger, better, stronger, whatever you want to say. And I do appreciate that they're at least moving in that direction. So a cautious optimism for sure.
And lastly here, Mr. Scott, as a Universal guy myself, I have to ask you, what did you think of Super Nintendo World?
It was awesome. Man, it is too small.
Yeah, it is tiny.
It is so small, but man, it was so much fun. I am so excited to have a larger version of that in the States at Epic Universe. The Mario Kart ride exceeded my expectations because I'm the kind of person I can't just save. I had to spoil a little bit, so I watched a few videos, and you watch a video of that ride online and you're like, huh? And then you ride it and you're like, okay, this is cool. But yeah, we did the early entry, which they're still doing that, right? Where you pay to get in early. That's it right there. Like, that was the smartest thing we could have done. We got in early. We played all the games. That way we could go, while everyone else was lined up for games, we were already ready to go fight Bowser Jr. You know,
Nice.
it was just, it made it feel like we had this completely different experience than everyone else there. The other good thing, we are East Coast. We traveled out there. We went there our first day. So we were still on East Coast time. So we ate lunch at Toadstool at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning because it was lunchtime for us. And so we didn't have to battle anything, you know. And by 11 o'clock, even though, you know, it was, it is a very small area, but by 11 o'clock we felt very good about our time, and that the Super Nintendo World is why we went. Like that's the only reason that, you know, we spent the entire day there, but that's what got us to go. So it was great.
So how excited are you for the Fast and Furious coaster coming?
I probably am not excited.
Oh,
but I don't. But it's just because I don't care about those. Like I don't watch those movies.
Sure.
But I love a good roller coaster. So I'm probably just kind of wait and see. You know, I think I've seen some track plans that have been posted online, but I haven't really heard much about what the coaster is going to be like.
Well, yeah,
is this
I'll
legit?
You're talking to the wizard here. I mean, he's got all about it.
All right. So it's like you've been on Cosmic Rewind, right? At Disney World. Right, so this coaster will be like that, where the cars will have you'll ride in like one of the Fast and Furious cars, one of the characters' cars, and then you'll go up to 73 miles per hour. Okay, but they'll have some controlled spin, so you'll be drifting, you know, along the way at 73 miles per hour, and there's about 4 inversions, including one Immelman over the escalator, as you can see to the right of those plans there. You'll be going over the Starway, then under it, then back up over again. So that should be pretty cool. So if you like the coasters, you're gonna love the coaster.
Yeah,
even if you don't like
that's
Fast
cool.
and Furious.
I had seen this. I had seen the layout, but I don't think I had seen the artwork. Where, I mean, it makes sense, but I just hadn't thought about how you're in an actual car on a coaster track drifting. Like that's a cool concept. So, I mean, I will ride it for sure, but I'm not. I don't think I've seen a Fast and Furious since the first, and maybe the 7th. Like I think are the only ones that I watched. But
you've seen enough of them. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think I got the gist.
Yeah. You've seen one, you've seen them all.
That's right.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for coming on Theme Park Universe episode 4. That's right. You're the 3rd guest on here ever. That's pretty special. And you know, hey, everyone follow him on X, Twitter, the Bird app, whatever you want to call it. He has up to the date news. Sometimes he puts out news before Disney puts out the news themselves. So gotta go. Follow and put that notification bell on there. Okay? Vash Guy, where can we find you?
Well, the best place you can find me is going to be right here at Theme Park Universe, talking about theme parks all across the nation, for sure. And for some short-form content, keeping up with the news as it relates to theme parks, general entertainment, etc., I'm a regular contributor and co-host over there at That Park Place. You can find me there as well.
Awesome possum. And don't forget, guys, to subscribe, like the video, share it out on Twitter, the Bird app, and have an epic day. Boom, 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 boom.